This up my plan. This is bullshit. Okay? These ass, these holes. The is their problem, man?
What's up guys, Sal here. So Chinese companies are rallying behind Huawei and asking employees to boycott Apple. Recently, the chief financial officer of Huawei got arrested under a US warrant. She is accused of committing fraud by lying about alleged links between Huawei and a shell company that was used to make sales in Iran, thereby breaching US sanctions. The United States also banned Huawei products in the country over national security concerns. China didn't take this well. Chinese companies are going so far as to offer subsidies to purchase Chinese products instead of American ones. According to the Nikkei, the companies are offering subsidies to employees to purchase Huawei products. Most are subsidizing 10 to 20% of the purchase price, but some companies are even covering the entire cost of the device. Not only that, some companies are fining employees who buy an iPhone by the same amount of money that they spent on the device. Heck, some companies are even firing their employees if they are seen with an iPhone. China feels if the US is being unfair to its own tech companies, then making things difficult for the US tech giants could be the direct response. Relations between China and the US have been strained due to a tit-for-tat trade war, and unfortunately, Apple is caught in the middle. Targeting Apple may not make a whole lot of sense. Apple has absolutely nothing to do with this whole thing. But Apple's status as one of the American giants means that going after it for China in some ways is symbolic. It's already seen in many circles in China that owning Apple products is unpatriotic. Yeah, it sounds silly, but it's true. I don't know, but this whole thing just shows how oppressive this communist regime in China is. If your job was threatened, penalized, or you had your personal belongings confiscated based on what personal device you used, there would be national outrage and global headlining in the news if this happened in any of the developed Western nation. I don't care what your smartphone preference is. This kind of behavior should not be condoned in a civilized society. Like seriously, this is the dumbest way possible China could think of about how to punch back. If the US is highlighting your inhuman regime, you don't go punishing your citizens for what phone they are using. The very fact that Chinese companies are threatening their workers for firing them from their job or confiscate their phones for using an iPhone shows how oppressive this communist regime in China really is. Anyway, the popularity of Apple products in China has been in steady decline for years now. This recent showdown with the US will only further accelerate that process. Tim Cook has previously talked about China as being Apple's future biggest market. Apple currently relies on China for around 20% of its revenues. At a time when smartphone sales in general are starting to stagnate, Apple certainly doesn't want to be hit with more problems in one of its top markets. And unfortunately, this trade war is certainly proving to be a nightmare for Apple. That said, let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments, and as always, I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.